Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Nobody understands the Great Firewall better than the Chinese people, who, despite the CCP's denial of human rights and despite the CCP's aggressive rhetoric about the U.S. and our allies, still find ways to talk about censored topics. For example, when the CCP blocked the Me Too hashtag, activists in China began using the Chinese characters Me Too, which you can see here, which mean rice rabbit. Now they even use rice and rabbit emojis to get around the censors. Mr. Krishnamoorthi, Chinese netizens often use these kinds of techniques to discuss sensitive topics, correct?
That's correct.
Let me show you another image. This is the image of the tank man from the Tiananmen Square massacre. This is also censored in China, correct, Dr. Cooper?
Yes.
But some Chinese citizens do know about Tank Man, including from U.S. broadcasters like Voice of America. Hence, they developed memes like this one to discuss what happened at Tiananmen Square. Mr. Krishnamoorthi, the CCP eventually detected these ducks and actually blocked searches for big yellow duck. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Chinese language content produced by VOA, which is critical for countering the CCP's narrative of aggression, gets almost 2 million views every day. Unfortunately, funding for VOA has flatlined, and this year its China program received just about $15 million, which is roughly the annual cost to operate, let alone buy, 2 F-35 fighters. Mr. Krishnamoorthi, increasing funding for VOA and programs like Radio Free Asia would help Chinese citizens get better access to non-CCP messaging and lower support for aggression towards neighbors and friends, right?
I think so.
Now I want to turn your attention to this woman. Her name is Tsai Shah, who famously managed to evade the CCP censorship. She once taught at the CCP Central Party School, but was expelled from the party after comparing Xi Jinping to a, quote, gang boss. Ms. Tsai expressed these views in a recording that went viral inside of China, right? Ms. Tsai says that a trip in Spain in 2008 was when she became fully aware of the CCP's repression and realized the need to speak out. Mr. Krishnamoorthi, it is these kinds of people-to-people ties and exchanges that, in my opinion, are among our best tools for combating CCP censorship. Would you agree with me?
Most certainly.
Unfortunately, the number of Chinese students studying in the U.S. has dropped almost 30% in just the last few years. So, Dr. Cooper, even as we compete with the CCP, we need to increase student and other exchanges with the Chinese people. Isn't that right?
I agree with that. I think student exchanges are an asymmetric advantage for the United States.
100%. Let me turn to my final topic, namely the CCP's export of surveillance technologies. The first problem is the security concerns with the technology itself, for instance, the existence of backdoor access by the CCP. But the second problem is that the CCP exports its surveillance tech to bad guys all over the world, such as the military junta that overthrew Burma's democratically elected government in 2021. Dr. Cooper, Chinese companies like Dahua Technology, which the U.S. sanctioned for supporting the CCP's human rights abuses in Xinjiang, are selling advanced surveillance cameras to the Burmese junta, right?
Yes.
And the junta is using these cameras to help arrest and imprison pro-democracy activists, correct?
Yes, I believe they are.
Here's a picture from a Dahua showroom in Burma advertising some of the tracking software in December 2022. So we have a sanctioned Chinese company selling advanced surveillance technology to a sanctioned regime. When dictators around the world know they can rely on the CCP to support them, when they're under U.S. sanctions, they are strengthened and enabled to commit more human rights abuses. Thank you, and I yield back.